Honorable Helen Clark and honorable ministers and distinguished representatives, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I'm not sure what I should be talking to you about. Definitely you don't expect me to give you the big plan, how to address this problem created by the financial crisis. Because to me, the problems even before the financial crisis, still bad enough, remains unresolved, remain unhandled. Financial crisis only brings it to the forefront, to more attention, and makes life worse than it was before. But I see this financial crisis in the context of the social response. I see it as a great opportunity. The crisis is there, but this could be also a fantastic opportunity for all of us, because the things that we didn't do before, we should have done. Now the crisis creates this environment where we must do it, and do it quick. So that's an opportunity by itself, that we're forced into action. Another opportunity I see that since you represent most of the social programs in your respective countries, and I'm a continuous critique of the social programs, that most of the time they are ineffective. Even if you don't agree with that, I see this is an opportunity to revisit all our social programs, see how to make it different, more effective, because it gives an opportunity to take a quick decision. Crisis creates an environment where decision making becomes easier, less time consuming than normally is. So to redesign it in a way that we can get out of the routine and then use the experiences that we have around the world to come in place and act immediately on those kind of social programs that we need to take. So this is one item that I see, I would like to highlight, that this is an opportunity to redesign our own programs, whatever we are doing. The other thing that about the social response, there are two responses that I can mention. One is immediate response, because things are happening right now. We have to make this immediate response to protect them. And the other one is a long-term response. We should not forget that. The long-term response is also equally important, because we must act so that this same kind of crisis doesn't come back to us again. If we leave this out, only concentrate on the immediate response, I think it would be a big mistake, because we left the structure as it is. It helped people to overcome, tolerate the present situation, and then when the situation changes, we are waiting for the next crisis, maybe a bigger crisis. So we have to redesign, reshape, reorient ourselves in the structure that we have, which has created this present system present crisis that we have created. As Honorable Helen Clark mentioned, that it's not only a financial crisis, this is a cluster of crises. So only the financial crisis is at the forefront, because it occupies the front page and every page of the newspaper. The other crisis kind of pushed away from the newspapers, but they are not pushed away from our life. The food crisis, energy crisis, environmental crisis, social crisis, and all those crises. These are all bundle, huge big bundle that you have to handle right away. How do we do that? What are the essence of those problems? How do we fix that problems? Without fixing those problems, we are in a very bad situation. We shouldn't do that. On the social response, everybody will mention the unemployment, job losses, and all that, how people are losing their livelihood. And immediately comes the question of creating self-employment, quick one. You can do that, which is now known, is well established. And that's where our work began in Bangladesh, creating self-employment for poor women. And that gradually grew and became a nationwide program, our own. And then it continues to get across many other countries what is known as microcredit. So this is very important part of the response to pay attention. Whatever self-employment capacity we have, microcredit is one effective tool to bring immediate self-employment generation capacity, particularly to women. It works both ways, but it works much better with women, and it has been demonstrated along the way everywhere that it works. I was looking at the figures about 2 years back. I was in Cartagena talking to Microcredit Regional Summit, bringing all the microcredit practitioners within Latin America. The one that we are talking about, that there's in total about 150 million microcredit loan recipients around the world. And out of these 150 million, probably nearly 80% of the loan takers, the borrowers, are from Asia. So it doesn't leave out much for Africa and Latin America and other countries. So if that is so, that's not a good picture. That how do we increase the number of loan recipients in the Latin American countries? There are many programs in Latin America, but each one is a small one. It's not a big one, unlike many programs in Asia. And after all, within Asia, there are several countries which has the largest number of loan recipients. Other countries are not as much. But how do we do that? If microcredit is so good, it's useful in this particular context, what is missing that helps, that doesn't take this microcredit program as widely accepted as it should have been? And this is again as an opportunity to review that, where we should be and what we do. One of the things that I keep mentioning, that the legal framework is missing. It's true globally, not just in Latin America. So that microcredit program can work as independent microcredit banks, like Grameen Bank works. It doesn't have to be as big as Grameen Bank, which is a nationwide bank. It could be a very local bank, one branch bank, but you need a legal framework. Today, all the microcredit is left to the NGOs. And NGOs have a problem because it doesn't have a legal home for microcredit. So they have to bring money from outside all the time, because they cannot take money from inside. If we had a license to operate as a bank, as a tiny bank, it's not like the big banks, that's why it needs a separate banking license, so that it can take deposits and lend money to the people. Just there, so you don't need to have any money coming from outside. There's plenty of money right there. And that's what the Grameen Bank does. The Grameen Bank today has over 8 million borrowers in Bangladesh. And mostly women, 95% of them are women. And we lend out over $100 million a month in loans averaging under $200. All this money that we lend out come from the deposits of the branches that we have in Grameen Bank. We don't take money from outside, from the government, or from international agencies, anywhere. And we have a surplus from the deposit. If we could have taken more deposit if we wanted to, but we are not taking as much deposit because we don't need that. So each country has that capacity to generate that amount of money just inside of that bank so that they can lend money to the poor people. So this is one item I thought would be very useful to consider, to negotiate with your finance ministry whether they would be allowed, they'll be interested, even as an experimental basis. If they feel, the finance ministries feel, oh no, we don't want to create another banking law. We had bad enough experience with the existing banking law. We don't want to get into another one. So have an experimental one to give license to 5 or 3 or 2 such one branch banking for microcredit, so that they can specifically dedicated to only one task, lending money to the poor people. That's all. They cannot have any other function. And they can take deposits and do that. So this is one item I thought would be useful to do that.